Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing another movie review for you all. This movie is a horror film from Spain, Spanish language English subs, released in the year 2022, directed by Kaya Casas, and this film is called The Coffee Table. So The Coffee Table is about a man. He has a wife and at this furniture store he comes across this coffee table that he absolutely loves. The wife hates it, she thinks it's ugly and she doesn't want it to come back home with them, but he's desperate to buy it. This is everything that he wants. He believes that it's going to really make the house feel better, it's going to give it a better vibe. So reluctantly, after a lot of pressure and conversation, the wife says, okay, you can buy it. And so they bring it back to the house, but unfortunately this is the start of a series of unfortunate events that is going to change their life forever. So what happens at that point on? Something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on The Coffee Table. I made that synopsis very, very vague for a very good reason. The less you know about The Coffee Table, the more impact it's going to have on you as a viewer. And so whether or not that's a bad thing or a good thing, that's up to you to decide by the time the end credits roll. But for me, I didn't really know what to expect. And this movie wouldn't have hit me as hard as it did if I actually knew more about what was going to happen. And so the less you know about the film, the better. It definitely applies to The Coffee Table. So this movie, before I watched it, I saw some reviews. A lot of people saying it was the most disturbing film they've seen in a very, very long time. It was absolutely devastating, it was harrowing, and I've heard that sort of thing before, and so I'm accustomed to extreme cinema, and so that normally doesn't excite me. But what really got my attention was that there was some very well respected horror reviewers from the extreme side of cinema that was saying that it really disturbed them. And so I thought to myself, alright, well, I definitely have to go and watch The Coffee Table. Spain are known to actually make their devastating films, and so if this is half as devastating as many people say it is, then I am in for something that I will not forget. So having the skepticism there based on the hype, but having the excitement, I wouldn't really call it excitement, but the curiosity that I was going to get a genuine horror experience, I had my fingers crossed and I really wanted it to be as good as people were saying. And after watching this film, I will say this is one of the rare occasions where a film really lives up to its hype. This is an exercise in pure psychological sadism. The way that this movie is set up, I just thought to myself, this is a car wreck. You're going past a car crash, you don't want to look at the carnage, but you can't help but stare at it. And this film just captures you in a way that you can't help but look, and you're bracing for impact. You don't want to see what's going to happen at the end, but there is that captivating quality about it. So that morbid curiosity is really coming through in the viewer, and Kaya Casas manages to capture that morbid curiosity, and he keeps you from start to finish. This is a film that's not perfect, but it never outstays its welcome because of that morbid curiosity, because you're that person in the car that can't help but see that horrible car crash. You don't want to know what the car crash looks like, but as I said, it's that morbid curiosity, it's that invisible psychology that captures you and forces you to watch it. And this is the psychological sort of aspect of this movie that forces you to watch it as well. And so the sadism in this movie on a psychological level is something I haven't really seen before. Martyrs had that psychological sadism. But this is a film that doesn't really go for violence. It goes for what happens, the situation in the film. And so the situational aspect of this movie I thought was absolutely devastating. It was incredibly dark, very, very, very depressing, and it just had me feeling really sorry for the whole situation. And so I'm not going to give anything away, but when you see the film, just be very, very careful, because you are in for one hell of a ride. This is an endurance test. This is a movie that I wouldn't say you can enjoy. It's a movie that you just, you test yourself as to what your capabilities are. And because a lot of it is psychological, this is what really causes a lot of pressure. There's a lot of anxiety in this movie, and the anxiety just gets more and more, because this is a film where it gives the viewer a one-up on the characters. So there's something that happens, and you know as a viewer what's going to happen at the end, but then there are other characters that aren't aware of this. And so when these other characters are talking about their life, how happy they are, their future, you just keep feeling to yourself, oh no. No, 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 please don't say that, because it's just making me feel more and more depressed. And so as the movie goes on, I just kept feeling to myself, alright, this director is really playing with me. And he's taking a lot of glee in playing with you, because there is dark humour in this movie that is the purest of dark hearts. This is a movie that had me laughing, but immediately feeling really guilty, because the script I thought was absolutely fantastic. And in the serious moments, there are comedic moments. This makes you feel as though you're even more anxious, because it's very smart in what it does. I have to be very careful not to give anything away, but the way the script is actually written, I thought it was expertly done in a dark comedy, and I haven't seen many dark comedies this dark in a very long time again. So you have the psychological aspect, the situational aspect, and it just snowballs into something that is an absolute tragedy. So it's an incredibly disturbing film because it's not trying hard to shock you as far as visual base. It's just that slow burn of something absolutely harrowing. You're passing that car wreckage, you don't want to look, don't look, but that morbid curiosity catches you and it just forces you to look. And in this movie, you don't want to see the outcome, you don't want to know what the impact is going to be, but the director manages to create that sense of, he's capturing your morbid curiosity through these psychological aspects of the script. The acting performances I thought were absolutely fantastic, and it just adds up to something that was just one of the most draining films I've seen in a long time. Yes, this is as disturbing as many people are saying it is, but I really like the respect that the disturbing quality had. It wasn't like a Serbian film where it was just being shocking for the sake of being shocking, just throwing anything absolutely repulsive at you as a viewer. This is a film that really does play on your emotions, and so be very, very careful of that. If you are a fan of extreme cinema, I would still say be very careful, because this is an extreme experience, but it's an extreme experience in a sense that you really don't see very often. So psychologically, this is absolutely devastating. It tore me to pieces, and at the end of it, I thought, wow, that was an incredible experience. So if that sounds like your kind of thing, go out there and see it. If I had problems with The Coffee Table, it does go for 90 minutes, and I felt as though it dragged a little bit, but that's a very minute criticism of what was just a really, really good extreme horror film. It's extreme on a psychological sense, so if you're after gore, you're not going to like this movie, but if you're after something incredibly dark that is actually making fun of that really dark material, then this is a movie for you, but just be very careful because it's not going to make you feel happy at the end. So overall, for The Coffee Table, this was a movie that I'm glad I watched, but I don't think I'll be watching this movie again anytime soon. I'm going to give The Coffee Table 4 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.